on, and then you'll just.
I won't take that.
So, Mayor Gooch and everybody, is there anyone that you wanted to say hi to?
Good evening. At this time, I will call the regular meeting of the Oak Ridge City Council for July to order. Our invocation tonight will be led by Pastor Robert May of Oak Ridge Family Bible Church. And then the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by our Oak Ridge students who have just recently returned from the trip to Naka, Japan on the student exchange program. So, Pastor May, and everyone please stand.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for honoring the prayer that we're about to pray. And thank you, members of the City Council, for this privilege. If you'll bow your heads with me as we pray. I want to thank you, Father, for the city of Oak Ridge and all of its citizens. May they enjoy peace, joy, strength, and love that comes from you and comfort from its citizens. I also want to thank you for these that serve on the City Council and those in our city government. As with all leaders, I thank you that they govern, being mindful of those who labored before them, and sense the great responsibility to walk in integrity, honor, and selfless service to God, country, and their community. Thank you for the continuing to give those in positions of leadership in the city of Oak Ridge guidance, wisdom, and success. We gather together tonight to pray for tonight's meeting and for unity, strength, and peace in our community. We pray for peace, strength, and unity in each home and with each family. And we pray that in the midst of great decisions, this city council will have the wisdom they need. We pray that in the times of crisis, they would have peace and direction of what to do and how to do it. And we pray that in the times of blessing, they would give thanks to you from whom all blessings come. Protect our brave men and women serving in our armed forces, for our firefighters, EMS, and in our local law enforcement. We are thankful for them and mindful of their daily sacrifices. Lord, bless this city of Oak Ridge, this state of Tennessee, and this United States of America, in the name of whom rulers of nations, kings of kingdoms, and presidents of our United States of America have bowed their heads and knees to, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend May.
Thank you, sir.
Students? It's this one. It's this one. It's right behind you. Thank you. They'll be back in just a few minutes.
You guys hang tight still.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Pro Tem Dotson.
Here.
Councilmember Gleason. Mayor Gooch.
Here.
Councilmember Hammond. Here. Councilmember Hensley. Here. Councilmember Hope. Here. Councilmember Smith.
All right, first item of business, Madam Clerk.
Okay, the first item of business is under public proclamations and public recognitions. And we have a recognition of some of the folks that just gave the Pledge of Allegiance, our Sister City Middle School Student Exchange Program participants. And I'm going to ask Valerie Lutke if she will come up and recognize the students.
Hello. I wanted to talk a little bit and have these folks introduce themselves. They just got back from Naka, Japan. As you all know, we have the secret sister relationship with them, and it's been a pleasure to work with Mr. Smith and Mr. Scott over the past year to organize their trip and the Naka students that will be visiting us. They're going to be here on August 20th, which is on a Wednesday, and they'll be here till that following Wednesday. But some important notes to keep in mind is on August 21st, the morning of, they're going to do a tour in this building. And hopefully we can do a mock council meeting. They'll introduce themselves to people, meet some people. And then on August 22nd, we're going to have our opening ceremonies. So that will be in the evening. There'll be more information to come on that. So we'll go on ahead and lead with Mr. Smith. And if you all would like to introduce your students and maybe talk a little bit about your trip.
Sure.
Thank you.
Come on up, guys. Hello again, friends.
Hello.
Thank you for helping to support such a great opportunity for students to travel abroad. So this year, as you well know, is the 35th anniversary of this exchange taking place. Unfortunately, due to COVID back in 2020, we missed on the 30th anniversary, and it was very close that this was going to go by the wayside. But with due diligence and friendship and partnership between our city and the city of Naka, we've been able to resume. This is our second year back, and the students just arrived back, 2 weeks ago, right? So I think they're just about done with their jet lag and ready for school to start in a couple weeks, all that excitement. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell one
Well, maybe
thing
they
that
need a few
really
more
enjoy.
days to get rid of the jet lag
Yeah.
before they
Yeah.
start school.
But I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell one
Yes.
thing that they really liked about their trip to Naka.
Hello, my name is John Coleman, and I'm in 8th grade, and I come from Jefferson. One thing I really liked about the trip was all the really nice, kind people, and all the awesome, just great people. They were all really nice and really opening and super helpful in every way.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Vlad.
Hello, my name is Vladimir Yarosh, and I'm going into 8th grade. And I think one of my favorite things about this trip was the kindness of my host family and the food. I'd say they have the best sushi.
Hi, my name is Natalie. I'm in 8th grade and I go to Jefferson. And my favorite thing was going to all the shrines. Yeah,
Okay.
4 in one day.
Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm going into 8th grade. I am from Jefferson, and my favorite thing was the kindness and understanding of everybody there.
Thank you.
Mr. Scott?
Hi, I'm Christopher Scott. I work with Oak Ridge Schools. I've met many of you, so it's a pleasure being here again. The students, just to give a quick note on the students, our children truly represented our city so well this year. I didn't have the privilege of seeing previous, trips to Japan, so I can't compare, but there were just moments where, they were expected to really just, immerse into a culture. I watched them do tea ceremonies, which is a very formal ceremony, and they could not have taken it more seriously. Every hand motion, every turn of the glass, they were so attentive, and it's inspiring. One of the things that I said at the opening ceremony in Japan was that we're at 35 years of this exchange, which means we have parents, who went to Japan, who have children in school now, who have passed on, the thought of going somewhere else, of experiencing a different culture, of getting out of your comfort zone. And, and that's just so powerful to think about, that this program has been around for that long, and that this city's commitment to it has really been generational, not just a flash in the pan. And that's really admirable, and something I feel like as a community we should be proud of. So the mayor of Naka sent a gift. I'm not going to take it out because it's quite large, but it is a lantern.
Great.
I met the individual who made it, and it is a handmade lantern. And while it stands about this tall, it's actually the smallest type that he makes. He usually makes lanterns that are 7 to 8 feet tall, that are typically hung from the roofs inside of temples or shrines. But there's also a stand in here. That part is not handmade. It's, it's one that you can put together. But hopefully he wanted it to be a token of both appreciation and commitment. So, thank you. Present that.
All right.
It opens up.
Wells. I'll tell you what, let's, be sure. Now we can see it.
He's not putting it together. Oh, it's.
Then there's a stand.
Right, very nice.
Okay.
Good work.
All right. All right, Steve, I want you to come up and hold the lantern. Let them take a picture of you and the sponsors with the lantern, okay?
There you go.
If you guys want to put on this side.
All right, let's stand. There we go.
Oh, you get down a little bit. All right.
Your picture. 1, 2, ready? Go. Ready? Look right over here. Let me get everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Put that right over there. Well, okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. There you go.
That's okay. Well, again, we want to thank, obviously, our schools, our chaperones, and most especially the children, our students and their families for allowing them to go to Japan. We treasure our relationship with NACI, and we will look forward to seeing them here in August. So again, thank you all very much. Next item. Next recognition, Madam Clerk.
I'm gonna come up here. I don't get to be up here very often. So if any of you know, obviously, about the city clerk's office, you've heard people say in the past, it takes a village. Well, in our office, it takes two. We are a two-person office, and when you tell folks kind of what we do in our office, they kind of look at us like, you do all of that? But I could not do that without my teammate, my coworker, my friend, and I want to honor Valerie Lutke tonight. She started in my office in 2022 in March. And she has gone on and gotten her state certification. So she is now a state certified municipal clerk. So when I'm gone and out of town, she can do everything I do. And even sometimes when I'm there, she can do things that I do. And then also because of getting her certification with our classification and our comp plan that you all helped to make possible, Val is now classified as a deputy city clerk. She basically did all the duties and didn't have the title, and now she has that. So I want to take this opportunity to honor her and thank her for all the hard work she does day to day for keeping me sane, keeping me straight, keeping me not stressed, even though that's a full-time job in itself. And I just wanted to thank her publicly for everything she does for me, the office, and the city and the citizens. So I'm going to come up. Thank you. And she's actually got her husband, Chris, in the back, and her daughter, Aurora, up here. But I'll just let her say a few words to you guys because we all love her and appreciate her.
Thank you all. I'm going to keep this train rolling, as we say in the office, but I'm very honored. Thank you. One thing that I always like to say is that whenever I walk into the door, that I want to be the light, and it's an honor to be able to serve our citizens, our staff, and our council. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, we thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Next recognition, Madam Clerk.
We have recognition of our summer interns, Miss Lauren Gray.
So we have our interns here tonight for the summer. They'll be with us for about a little over a month. The rest of the day started back in late May, early June. And they are spread about all different departments. So I'd like to bring them up here and introduce themselves and let you guys know which department they're with. And if you have any questions, they are ready and eager to answer your questions. But just a refresher, the internship program, this is kind of the second round that we've done this program, first summer as a program. And we just hired for the fall, and we're starting to get some people in those positions. We've done some interviews for that, and they'll start, next month, the second week of August for the fall, and then we'll be looking for spring interns after that. So we just keep things going. So I'd like my interns to come up that are all here for every department, and we'll let them go down the line and introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Aurora Emery. I'm with the legal department.
I'm Elena Conger. I'm with the city manager's office.
My name's Stephanie Gordillo-Rivas, and I'm with the human resources department.
Howdy, I'm Jed Wolf. I'm with the library.
I'm Logan Crumpley. I'm with the city clerk's office.
Hi, I'm Edie Weston, and I'm with Parks and Recreation.
Hello, I'm Lydia Meldrum, and I'm with communications, and I appreciate you guys for having us.
We appreciate you all. And they'll be with us for another 30, I mean, 30.
About another month.
Okay.
Until they start school, so some of them go to different colleges.
Of course. Well, again, thank you all.
And different high schools.
Yeah. And we hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have enjoyed having you working in our city government and giving you the opportunity to see how important public service is. Thank you. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Okay, so our next item is elections to fill some current vacancies on our city boards and commissions. And we had 30 applicants for 5 vacancies, which was very impressive. Thank you to everyone who applied and put your name out there. The first one we're going to do tonight is to fill the vacancy on the beer permit board. There's 1 vacancy, and if you're here, I'll call the names of everyone that submitted applications. And if
Yeah,
you're here,
please
please
do that.
raise your hand or stand. We have, and I hope, if I massacre your name, I'm sorry in advance. Janelle Bonight. Bachnight.
Yes, I'm standing.
Awesome.
have open seats now.
Sam Crawford. I don't know if Mr. Crawford's here. Regina Guy. Torrin Hill. And Richard Wallace. Okay, so you're going to vote for 1. And if you need to abstain for any reason, I didn't put a blank on here this time, but write abstain and make sure you sign your ballot, because that's how we track those for public records purposes. So you're going to vote for 1.
Councilman Hammond votes for Bachnight. Councilwoman Smith votes for Bachnight. Councilman Hope votes for Bachnight. Mayor votes for Bachnight. I should have looked at these. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes for Bachnight. It's unanimous. Councilman Hensley votes for Bachnight.
Congratulations, Chanel.
Janelle Bachnight, you are elected. That was easy enough. All right.
All right.
The next one is for the Disability Advisory Board. Oh, I'll give you that. So we have 1 vacancy on the Disability Advisory Board, and we have 5 applicants. Lisa Boothby, Megan Malone, I believe Ms. Malone is here, Tina Mata, Sean Taylor, and Molly Vondermaiden. Did I get that right? Exactly right. All right. And again, you're going to vote for 1. And let me say, while they are voting, if you do not get selected tonight, do not lose hope. Do not get discouraged, because in January we will have more open elections. These are just vacancies that have come up during the course of the year. So at the end of the year, the folks whose terms are up, everybody has to reapply. So I'm so impressed with however many applied, but just don't get discouraged, okay? Because there will be other times. All right, we ready?
Yes. Councilman Hammond votes for Taylor. Councilwoman Smith votes for Malone. Councilman Hope votes for Taylor. Mayor Gooch votes for Vondermaiden. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes for Taylor. And Councilman Hensley votes for Vondermaiden.
Okay, so nobody got 4. You have to get at least 4 votes. So we'll do a second round. And we don't eliminate anyone because someone may be the dark horse. So we don't eliminate anyone. And I'll read the names one more time. Lisa Boothby, Megan Malone, Tina Mata, Sean Taylor, and Molly Vondermaiden.
Councilman Hammond votes for Taylor. Councilwoman Smith votes for Vondermaiden. Councilman Hope votes for Taylor. Mayor Gooch votes for Vondermaiden. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes for Taylor. And Councilman Hensley votes for Mata.
We still do not have 4. We're like the U.S. Congress. Oh, wow. Okay. So, and I only have 3 rounds, so. Okay, here you go.
Councilman Hammond votes for Taylor. Councilwoman Smith votes for Vondermaiden. Councilman Hope votes for Taylor. Mayor Gooch votes for Taylor. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes for Taylor. Councilman Hensley votes for Vondermaiden.
Okay, Sean Taylor gets 4 votes. Sean Taylor is elected.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Give me 1 moment. Okay, the next one is for the Environmental Quality Advisory Board, and we actually have 2 vacancies on this board. And we had, it looks like 6 applicants, so you're going to vote for 2 this round. And I will call your name if you're, and recognize you if you're here. David Brady, Jessica Butler, Regina Guy, Carla Magnuson, Kimberly Romans, and James Terry. And you're going to vote for 2.
Councilman Hammond votes for Brady and Butler. Councilwoman Smith votes for Brady and Terry. Councilman Hope votes for Brady and Magnuson. Mayor Gooch votes for Butler and Magnuson. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes for Butler and Guy. And Councilman Hensley votes for Butler and Guy.
Okay, Jessica Butler got 4 votes. She is elected. So we will go again, we will go another round for the next one, for 1 more. Congratulations, Ms. Butler. Thank you. So on this round, you're going to have all the names except Ms. Butler because she just got elected. So you're going to have David Brady, Regina Guy, Carla Magnuson, Kimberly Romans, and James Terry.
Two. Oh, one.
One, just one this
that's
time.
right, that's right.
Mm.
Thank you.
Councilman Hammond votes for Brady. Councilwoman Smith votes for Brady. Councilman Hope votes for Brady. Mayor Gooch votes for Brady. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes for Brady. And Councilman Hensley votes for Guy.
Okay, David Brady received 5 votes, so he is elected. Last but not least, the Recreation and Parks Advisory Board. There were 14 applicants for 1 vacancy, so this one may go a couple of rounds, maybe more. I have up to 5, so if you're here, stand or raise your hand. Lisa Boothby, Janelle Botnight, I'll get it one of these days. Bach the Composer, Botnight. David Brady, Jessica Butler, Thomas Brandon Collier, Kathy Dunning, Regina Guy, Carla Magnuson, Myra Mansfield, Joseph Pickle, Kimberly Romans, Bonnie Spangler, Sean Taylor, and Molly Vondermaiden. And you're going to unfortunately vote for just one. I know, it's hard.
Councilman Hammond votes for Vondermaiden. Councilwoman Smith votes for Magnuson. Councilman Hope votes for Magnuson. Mayor Gooch votes for Magnuson. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes for Dunning. Councilman Hensley votes for Guy. Doing it again.
Okay, no one got 4, so Ms. Dunning got 1, Ms. Guy got 1, Ms. Magnuson got 3, and Ms. Vondermaiden got 1. So, but everyone's name remains on. This is round 2.
Councilman Hammond votes for Vondermaiden. Councilwoman Smith votes for Magnuson. Councilman Hope votes for Magnuson. Mayor Gooch votes for Magnuson. Mayor Pro Tem Dotson votes for Magnuson. Councilman Hensley votes for Guy.
Okay, Carla Magnuson has 4 votes. Carla Magnuson is elected. And let me say again, even though a lot of our board seats will be up in January, as we get vacancies, we're gonna try to start filling
Filling them,
those so
yeah.
that we'll have staggered terms and not so many up at the same time. So, watch the city website, and I'll reach out to folks that have already put in applications for some boards and let you know when other vacancies are up, and you can always feel free to email me and say, consider my application for those boards. So, thank you all for
But
applying.
just to reiterate, the election will be at the January meeting for the
Yeah,
all
for the
boards.
large number of
For the large
vacancies,
number.
yes.
So again, thank all of you for your interest and your participation, and there will be other elections, I promise you. Thank you all.
Okay.
All right, next, Madam Clerk.
Okay, the next item is to confirm the mayoral appointments to the Anderson County Development Corporation Board of Directors and the Oak Ridge Heritage Railroad Authority. To the ACDC Board, we have Terry Daugherty and Richard Chin Sr. And to the Heritage Railroad Authority, we have Mike McGill. All those are reappointments.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? And those 3 individuals are elected, and again, we thank them for their service.
The next item is
You ready?
the next item is the consent agenda.
Councilwoman Smith has asked that item E be taken off the consent. Is there a motion to approve the remaining items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? And all the items on the consent agenda are approved. We'll now move to item E. Madam Clerk?
A resolution amending Resolution 2-22-2023 regarding contract FY 2023-084A with Lawson Lawn Care Service, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, to increase the scope of work for the addition of new streets to be mowed and for temporary increased work due to road construction and utility work, and to increase the compensation amount to a total base amount not to exceed $367,464.29.
Move to approve.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Flynn?
You have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And we discussed this at the Budget Finance Committee meeting a while back now. I can meeting again. Apparently I got kicked out. So I can be heard now. And question arose basically about how certain streets that are not state highways are on this right-of-way mowing contract. And in particular, we wondered why Coe Road was on it.
I heard you
and-
had that question, and I know the
Yeah.
answer.
And, yeah, so it's a question of just what criteria are there for adding city streets to
Okay.
this contract?
That's a
And
little
how about Coe
misleading.
Road?
That's a little misleading for 2 reasons.
Okay.
It had been in the previous contract, and it was identified as Coe Road. It isn't actually Coe Road. It's actually the intersection where the railroad track and Coe Road is, and the area that wraps around that residence back there to the pump station that is on Coe Road.
Okay.
It's not,
So, okay.
it's not the residences, and that's what it looks like, I agree. When I heard your question, I knew exactly what you were asking.
Okay. Okay.
That's just how it's identified.
Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, the motion is to approve. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, and so it is approved. Let's see, that takes care of everything on the consent agenda. All right, Madam Clerk, next item.
Under final adoption of ordinances, we do not have any first reading of ordinances. Sorry, let me say that. Under final adoption of ordinances, we have an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the City of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending the zoning map, which is made a part of the ordinance, by changing the zoning district of Development Area 5 in Horizon Center Industrial Park off Renovair Boulevard, Roane County Control Map 021, parcel 002.04, containing approximately 96.5 acres from IND2 Industrial to IND3 Industrial, and a public hearing is required.
Move to accept.
Moved and seconded. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Public hearing is open. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council on this matter? Mr. Cole-Claser.
Cole-Claser, 103 Monticello Road. During earlier discussions, the applicant's intended use was discussed as part of the consideration for the zoning. The city zoning ordinance statutes do not include reasons for the zoning change request. There's a broad category, but the specific reason the applicant's asking is not part of the consideration. And I think Mr. Heeman and Mr. Bessemer were at the planning mission in February when City Attorney Sarah Gerard reiterated that point at least twice when the Planning Commission was working to consider zoning for the powerhouse area, and the intended use, which was existing use, was causing considerable concern in the discussion. And the city attorney pointed out that was irrelevant. Just did not take into consideration what the applicant's asking. And if you read the city statute, there's no place in the statute where it says the use is part of it. So as you consider this zoning, you need to think of the broad category and not the applicant's stated intent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Council. I'm Ken Givens with BWXT, so I appreciate the opportunity to come and answer. I'm sorry?
I need an address.
The office?
Your address.
My address, yeah, 2421 Covered Bridge Boulevard, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
So I'm here to answer any questions tonight, but provide a little background of what our intent is for the use of the property. BWXT has a long history of doing nuclear work, over 65 years that we've been making reactors for the Navy nuclear program. We strategically picked this site here in Oak Ridge for the opportunity that it presented to work with Oak Ridge National Laboratory and deploy the new centrifuge enrichment technology that they've been working on. We've moved forward to purchase the land, and we've also moved forward to start the initial construction of the first facility. So what our plans for the site are broad in category, from manufacturing the uranium centrifuges to potential enrichment, which that is why it needs to be industrial level 3 for the radioactive material that we may process in the future. So we will move quickly here in this fall to look at that from the NRC licensing. So it's getting the zoning would allow us to move forward with the NRC aspects, similar to the TRISO-X and why they're industrial level 3. So any questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else wishing to address council? All right, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. You're up.
Good evening.
Thank you, Ms.
As noted, this is a rezoning request for Development Area 5 in the Horizon Center Industrial Park, and the request is to rezone the property from IND2 to IND3, and I'll try to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
questions for Ms. Williams?
Yes, sir. So,
Mr. Dotson, yes.
yeah, Ms. Williams, I'm looking at the first page, the last paragraph, the bottom of that. The Phase 1 building will fall under the Industrial 2 zoning requirements. However, future manufacturing buildings will cross into the Industrial 3 requirements, especially pertaining to radioactive materials. Therefore, BWXT is requesting a rezoning for IND 2. So that's the reason they're requesting for that, IND 3. Is that correct?
That is the applicant's reason, yes.
Okay. And then I'm looking over on page 73, recommendation. At their May 15th meeting, the Planning Commission voted 8-0 to recommend approval of the rezoning request. So I just wanted to call council's attention to that as well. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I've expressed concerns about this in the past. I have no objection to the company's project, but just to the aspects of the rezoning. And there are two reasons given, basically, for why it needs to be Industrial 3. One is that they're working with radioactive material, but actually we have a number of businesses working with radioactive material in the city of Oak Ridge that are in the Industrial 2 zone. That's not something that we typically look at as a criterion for moving to Industrial 3. It can stay in Industrial 2. And I think, the language in the zoning has to do with radiation hazards, radioactive hazards, not necessarily merely the presence of radioactive material. So, I believe we have, if we're going to say that radioactive material has to be in Industrial 3, we have an awful lot of other businesses that would be looking to rezone to Industrial 3. And I don't believe that this business has the kinds of hazards that would require Industrial 3. It's not a situation where there's going to be a significant radiation field around the facility or stuff that might explode. And, so I believe that it's excessive to call it Industrial 3 simply because of radioactivity. The other thing that's been pointed out is that the zoning ordinance specifies that several categories of manufacturing with NICS codes such as 32, major group 32, can go in Industrial 3. They're not listed in any other zone. But I recall back, when I was on EQAB in the 1990s, we worked with the planning department on revamp of the industrial zoning ordinance. And the theme that was developed was that each of the zones was going to have a narrative description of what kinds of things belonged in that, rather than an enumerated list, which might turn out to be antiquated pretty quickly. And then the specific things that were in the city tended to be listed in the enumerated zones, in Industrial 1 and Industrial 2. But industries that didn't exist in Oak Ridge and weren't anticipated at that time were kind of placed in Industrial 3 just so we would have a place for them somewhere in the city if they were to show up. And the chemical industry zone is one that was in that category. We didn't have any chemical industry. That category also includes food manufacturing. It also includes apparel manufacturing, a lot of things that we didn't have and didn't have a reason to create a zone for. And so the inclusion in Industrial 3 of the chemical industry, which is what this both TRISO X and BWXT broadly fit within, does not mean that we had a thorough evaluation of the appropriate zoning of chemical industry. It means that we needed some place to put chemical industry, and we specified it in Industrial 3 because that was a place that was safe to put it in. We didn't have any Industrial 3 areas either at that time in the city. The general notion, there was an intention that unanticipated proposed industrial uses could be evaluated against the narrative criteria in the zoning ordinance to determine where in the ordinance they should fit. And if a determination was made of what was appropriate for a type of business that we were encountering, the city would revise the ordinance text to replace that activity in an appropriate zone. In fact, within a couple months after that major revamp of the industrial zone was completed, there was a text change made to accommodate something that had come up that didn't clearly fit in any of the existing zones, and something was done to specify that it could be an industrial too. I think that, right now, we need to take that same attitude. We shouldn't be pretending that the list of NAICS's codes that was created 30 years ago is, immutable wisdom that has to be followed forever. It wasn't handed to us on stone tablets. It doesn't represent any particularly thorough analysis. It was simply the way the ordinance was written so that we could have all kinds of businesses included somewhere in our city zoning. I believe that instead of revising the zoning to put industrial 3, which allows a lot of pretty onerous activities, noise, odor, kinds of things that historically were considered to be terrible things that industry did. Instead of putting this facility in industrial 3, I believe we should be revising the text of the zoning ordinance to specify that uranium enrichment activities and fabrication of TRISO fuel are both activities that are eligible for industrial 2 rather than industrial 3. I'm seeing frowns, but that's my proposal. I can't move tonight to revise the text of the zoning ordinance, but it's my position that we shouldn't be rezoning this property for industrial 3 because I don't believe that's the right zone for this, for the kinds of things that are contemplated by BWXT.
I'm not frowning at you, I'm just trying to think about what you're saying.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Ms. Williams, you have a response to that?
Sure. I'll add, I did add a slight update at the beginning of the memo for this item, kind of explaining what the NAICS, or the North American Industry Classification System codes, are for uranium enrichment, and that right now, as Councilwoman Smith noted, that major group 32 is only located in the IND3 district. And that's the reason that the recommendation was made for IND3 zoning. However, amending the zoning ordinance to allow the certain types of uses in IND2 is another option, essentially a zoning text amendment as opposed to a rezoning. But really the question, and this sort of goes back to Mr. Colclasur's comment, the question is IND3 zoning appropriate for this lot? In staff's opinion, it is, and that's how the Planning Commission voted as well. But there are other options, such as amending the text of IND2.
Other questions for?
Just real quick question, is more so to get a feel for the Planning Commission. Did that option come up as part of that conversation or not? And if it did, what was your understanding of the Planning Commission's take on, hey, instead of going to IND 3, we can make a text amendment instead, in terms of pros and cons that may have been reflected in that conversation?
I don't think so. It didn't
No.
come up. It didn't, not that I'm aware.
I do not recall that either, that particular.
It didn't come up to the level of detail that Councilwoman Smith has described, which I wish it had.
Ms. Smith, you had another comment?
Yeah, I think I was at that meeting, but I may not have explained it in that great detail.
Not to this detail.
All right, other questions? Are you ready? You ready to vote? You want? Okay. All right, we're on the board. Mr. Hensley, did you have something else?
No, I'm trying to turn on the voter machine.
Okay.
You can't till I hit start. There you go.
All right. There are 3 ayes, there are 3 nays. Accordingly, the resolution is not passed. What are next steps on this, bringing it back?
Well, I guess the item fails at this point. I mean, if council directs, we can look at reviewing a text amendment for IND2, if that is the will. And that would, of course, have to go to the planning commission first, but that's something we can take to them.
Ms. Racker, do you have any comment on that?
No, I think that's what staff will probably look at now is an amendment to the IND2 zone and determine if it is, where it would be appropriate in there. Obviously, we have, a variety of properties that are zoned IND2, so we'd have to determine would you put that in a use that would require some sort of extra permission as opposed to a permitted use? You'd have to evaluate where we've got those properties. And so it might take a little bit of time for that. I wouldn't necessarily think that you're going to see it at the very next Planning Commission meeting, but, you would not see it at the next Planning Commission meeting, but hopefully at the one after that. We'll get busy on that as soon as possible.
So there would be no requirement for delaying it, just a requirement for getting the homework done before it is brought out. Yeah.
Right.
Thanks.
Yes.
So, okay, let's be sure we understand what you're saying here. You all confer, and then we'll talk to you.
Yes.
You all on the same page?
We are on the same page, yes.
All right.
Yes.
So the next step goes back to the planning commission for a text amendment?
We'll work up a text amendment option for Planning Commission to review for the IND2 zone.
Right.
And staff will evaluate that to determine where they think that should go and how that should work. And then the applicant would have to reapply for are they IND? They're already IND2, aren't they? Yeah.
That's right, and their initial phases are permitted in the IND2
Yes.
zone.
So as long as it would go through Planning Commission for a recommendation to City Council, and then City Council for a zoning text amendment that would require 2 readings. And then if that is a permitted use that goes in IND2, then they wouldn't need any additional permission.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's just I wanted to make sure that I had clarity of, and I wanted to publicly express my support for the project. My wholehearted support for the project, and I want to publicly acknowledge that thoughts. It's just a way that I think we can do it that's a little bit differently, but supporting the project and making sure that they were able to continue doing what they want to do definitely has my full support. So I wanted to publicly acknowledge that.
And then I know that City Council, or at least I believe City Council does receive an email copy of all of the boards and commissions agendas, but we can certainly flag that one and let you know that it's on that agenda, so you're not having to open that agenda and see that it's on there. We can give you a heads up of to which planning commission that's coming to.
All right,
Okay.
Mr. Dodson, you got another comment?
Yeah, we did, actually, at our planning commission meeting here, a little bit from Councilwoman Smith. I would really like to have her involved in the process when you all look at this, please. And then when it's brought back with the planning commission, then I'm pretty sure that we will have a little bit better information on how we can proceed. So, thank you.
Well, in all fairness to BWXT, let's do this at an
Expeditiously,
basis as we
yes.
can.
And then when it comes to City Council, if you wish to do it that way, you could do first reading at a regular council meeting and then second reading at a special meeting right before a work session, because it just has to be 1
Correct.
week apart.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what we plan on doing.
And I think BWXT should be assured that council is fully in support of the
That
project.
is correct.
We're simply looking at a way to rejigger our ordinances.
Mr. Hensley?
I fully support the project, and it was my understanding that the initiation of the project did not need the industrial 3 parts yet. They could start with the industrial 2, and then this can come along with a text amendment, just like we're talking about, and there shouldn't be any delays.
Okay. Next item, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend the comprehensive planned land use plan for parcels 048.00 through 056.00, Anderson County Tax Map 106A Group B, located at the corner of Lafayette Drive and South Illinois Avenue from R residential to B general business. And a public hearing is required.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Now, what I'm gonna do on this, Ms. Williams, let's hear from you first, your explanation on this, and then we will immediately go to the public hearing, okay?
All right, so both of your next two items, item 9B and 9C, are two actions by council about the same development, and that is a newly proposed planned unit development, or PUD, at the corner of South Illinois Avenue and Lafayette Drive. It's a commercial PUD. And so the first item that is in front of you this evening is a land use plan map amendment. The properties we're talking about historically have been used as residences, so they're on our land use map as residential properties. And so a change in the land use map from R residential to B business is required ahead of any zoning change. So that's the item that you're speaking on right now. The next item, item C.
Let's take it one at a time.
Yeah, okay.
Let's take it one at a time.
B is the land use map amendment.
All right, so do you have any other explanation or discussion related to item B at this point?
Not at this time, though. I'm free to answer
All right.
any questions.
All right, I'd entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council in the public hearing on this item? Look to my right. Yes, yes. Well, I can't now, yeah, just one at a time here. If you got something to say, you come up, but if not, then there'll be.
Will I be able to talk with the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right.
I don't need to come out.
All right, so, I need a motion to,
Mr. Coclaser.
Ms. Coclaser, you wish to be heard on this?
Same observation that we just addressed, same observation, at what point?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Well, hang on.
Oh, okay, Mr. Coclaser, I'm sorry, I can't,
That's okay.
I can't understand. Okay.
103 Monticello Road.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't clear how much of the applicant's reasons were applicable to this item on the agenda. Back to the same point, Attorney Sarah Gerard made it clear to Charlie and Councilmember Dotson and others that the reason for the request is irrelevant. So the discussion last time was about the reasons the property owner wanted to rezone. Those are irrelevant. The wide band of two is what is applicable here, so appreciate you keeping that in mind as you discuss and decide on this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coclaser. Now, is there anyone else wishing to be heard? So let's raise your hand, please. All right, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay, we are back on the motion to approve. Are there any other comments by council or staff? Have any other comments?
I guess the question is if you all would like me to speak on the rezoning and PUD generally now, or wait
No.
until that item?
One at a
No
time.
further comments.
Thank you. I said that a minute ago. All right. Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I'm finding it incongruous that we're talking tonight about changing the land use plan on this particular tract when this is part of the South Illinois Avenue small area study being addressed in the comprehensive planning process that the city's undertaking right now. And there's a public input session on the South Illinois neighborhood as part of that process on Wednesday. So if council basically directs a change in land use 2 days before the public input session on land use in this area, it appears that we're doing the comprehensive planning process kind of as just a window dressing, maybe, not really interested in public input. And that really troubles me, that we would do something like that. And with respect to the specific land use, I believe that we have, more than just existing residential use in that area as part of our plan, but rather a city tradition, a long history of city being concerned about minimizing the impact of commercial development on existing neighborhoods when commercial development was occurring on adjacent major thoroughfares. We've had things like when Eddie Hare wanted to build a tire warehouse, it had to be disguised so that it would not appear to be commercial development in the residential neighborhood. We've had places where driveways weren't allowed to enter certain residential streets so that the business that was building adjacent to a residential neighborhood wouldn't impinge on the neighborhood as much as it might have otherwise. So we have a tradition as a city of trying to protect our residential neighborhoods from incompatible commercial development on the fringes of the neighborhood. And this particular area was the subject of a special focused planning process back in 2007 timeframe that crafted a plan for commercial development and traffic flow that maintained compatibility with the Woodland neighborhood. It was a pretty big deal at the time, with a lot of public engagement. And that plan worked out rather well. It led to creation of Woodland Terrace as access to the Woodland neighborhood that also provided access to businesses, and it led to development of some businesses that we're all pretty proud of. Aldi, Panera, Aubrey's, Dos Bros, the walk-in clinic. And as part of that plan, there was a recommendation that the part of the neighborhood that we're looking at right now should remain in residential use, potentially with higher density residential use than it has right now. But the recommendation of that plan was that it stay in residential use, probably as R3 rather than the R1C, which is its current zone. And there should not be direct access to the major streets other than the access point, which basically is what Woodland Terrace serves as now, that provides access to businesses on the street. And I've got access to the 2007 land use study, if anybody's curious about it, because it's in the agenda from the Municipal Planning Commission on May the 15th. But so we have not only a tradition of trying to protect residential neighborhoods from commercial development, but in this particular neighborhood, we had a public process subsequent to the last comprehensive plan that actually focused on land use for this area. And now that we're looking at revising the comprehensive plan, revising land use, I feel like we need to allow the comprehensive planning process to go forward before we make a land use change on an area that's a particular focus of the land use process. So I would like to propose that we defer action on the land use amendment until after the planning process has done something to address the South Illinois area. So we're not changing the land use and then telling people we'd like your input, but we already have our answer. So that's my proposal, motion to defer.
I'll second that. Motion to defer by Ms. Smith. Second by Mr. Hammond. Discussion. Discussion by council before I call on folks in the audience. All right, this is on the motion to defer. Mr. Chin.
So I'm Rick Chin, 101 Stonebridge Way. I'm the applicant. Just as a point of order, what type of delay are you requesting? Is this something that would come up at the next city council meeting, or just a understanding of what would be done if this motion was approved?
I'm not sure. I definitely want to delay it past Wednesday, because that's the time that public input is being solicited on this small area. And that's where it seems to me problematic to be asking the public for input after we've made a decision on a major element of the small area, changing the land use.
With all due respect, that type of delay that's open-ended is quite
Well, yeah,
difficult
the
for a developer to be able to interpret. If it's, a year, I mean, what are we talking here?
I'd say the next council, next council meeting is probably adequate for that, so.
Would like to hear the will of the rest of council before I comment on that. If it looks like there's going to be some sort of delay, having a full range of council member here may not be a bad thing for this project. However, if we think we can move forward without this delay, I would request to continue to move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, Ms. Hammond.
Just one point of clarification, we do have a small area in the south, on the South Illinois corridor. It does not include these particular pieces of property. The small area boundaries that we've identified are essentially the Tulsa Triangle south of South Illinois, and then the properties just adjacent to the east, the Hobby Lobby Shopping Center, where that is. Those are, so the South Illinois corridor is being studied, but the limits of the small area do not include this property.
Okay.
No, it's not.
The South Illinois corridor study that was done prior was 20-plus years ago. And I think, as Ms. Williams adequately states, this property is not included in the study Ms. Smith is asking.
It is second.
Yeah, it is.
Mr. Dodson, and then Mr. Hensley.
Okay. So I've just got a question. It came before Planning Commission, and we thoroughly looked at this request. And I'm going to stay on B right now. I know that both of them have had a lot of talk on this, but could you, what was the vote from Planning Commission with regards to item B, the land use plan map amendment?
The land use plan amendment, it was 8-0.
8-0.
Unanimous vote.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hensley.
Yeah, I object to this delay because this has been through the Planning Commission numerous times. It's been through council. And this is a pretty drastic change at the last minute after seeing all the plans and all the meetings that we've had with the traffic people and the city engineers to now reverse course. It really, to me, it's a slap in the face to a developer of our city who does very good work in the city.
Yeah.
Mr. Hope.
I have to agree with Councilmember Hensley. I think there's a delay of this particular deal, especially when it's not in part of the small group session that's going to be scheduled for Wednesday. It's not even going to be talking about this particular part of parcel.
Mr. Hammond, and then I've got a comment.
Yep, just wanted to note, because I thought that was a good, very good question. So when I seconded, I wasn't exactly quite sure, but I can say what I had in my mind, whether that makes sense or not. And that was the next city council meeting, or I was going to ask some thought on if there is feedback received on Wednesday, is there a way to get that feedback to inform the decision? It doesn't have to be a formal put out to everybody and a promotion, but some sense of what was said as part of that. If we're talking about the same property, I know you mentioned that this isn't a part of the overall corridor, but at the same time, is this a part of the comprehensive plan that that we're asking people to give input on?
So if it is a property in the city, it's part of the comprehensive plan. However, the actual small area that's identified does not include this property. We could certainly provide council with a summary of any feedback we receive, but it may or may not be relevant, I guess I'll say, to
I
this
got you.
item.
Okay, so at least, just so you know, for clarity, so everybody knows, what I had in mind was the next council meeting was gonna be what I was thinking for the purpose of just not putting the use out there to Councilwoman Smith's point. But I'll, if folks don't want to delay it at all, then I'll certainly go from there. But just so you know, that's what I had, not some inevitable delay that we just didn't know. It would have been one council meeting.
And I confess, I didn't know that the South Illinois area addressed in the small area study did not include this, because we had a long history in this community of referring to South Illinois as the fringe of woodland, including what was across the street from it. So I was thinking that it included those same areas that we historically talked about as planning for South Illinois. So I can see we don't need, we would not be colliding with the planning process on Wednesday. So that resolves my concern on that.
Do you want to withdraw your motion?
Yeah, I'm willing to do that.
Second, okay. So the motion, all those in favor of withdrawal indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay. So we are now back, and the motion is to approve item B, the land use plan map amendment as described in the agenda. Is there any other comments? Mr. Hensley? Then
Yeah,
Mr. Hammond.
just one comment is we're talking about the land use plan like it's carved in stone, but keep in mind, we're working on a brand-new land use plan and a brand-new comprehensive plan, and the one we use, that we're referring to right here, it was written in 1987, back when I first was on the planning commission, so the new one may be different.
Which is probably why we want to get input from people before we vote, because it may very well be different, or people may have ideas about that particular land. And so but anyway, I guess my thoughts or my question, and I've spoken with Mr. Chin and a couple of residents from that space, and I wanted to get a feel for the traffic, if you will, on Paris Lane. That was my,
That'll be in the next one.
oh, my bad. Oh, so that's why everybody was talking about that. My bad. I disregard.
Okay. All right, Ms. Smith? one
Yeah,
last
well,
comment.
I'd comment that the land use plan relevant here is not the 1988 comprehensive plan, it's the 2007 plan that was done by the Planning Commission and with a lot of public input. So it's not 40 years old, it's only 20 years old. But in those 20 years, traffic has increased remarkably, and the complexity, the streets have been reconfigured, the roads have been reconfigured. So if anything, the potential for adverse effect on a residential neighborhood has increased dramatically since 20 years ago. So I feel like the process that we've used in the past of trying to protect the residential neighborhoods is still relevant. So I'm going to oppose this land use change, and it's nothing. As everyone has said, I agree that Mr. Chin will do a great job with this project, no question about that. But I'm concerned about the impact in the neighborhood. So.
Mr. Hensley, one more comment or
Yeah,
not?
just one last comment is
Okay,
that the land use plan is part of the comprehensive plan, and the comprehensive plan is obsolete. And we tend to update the land use plan every time there is a rezoning or an action like this. And even though it was revised in 2007, it still is part of the new comprehensive plan, or will be, I hope.
All right, the motion is to approve, and we're on the board. Ayes 4, 2 nays, and the ordinance is approved on second and final reading. Next item, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 2, titled the zoning ordinance of the city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by amending the zoning map, which is made a part of the ordinance, by changing the zoning district of parcels 048.00 to 056.00, Anderson County Tax Map 106A Group B, containing approximately 3.79 acres, from R1 CMDO Single Family Residential District in the Manhattan District Overlay to UB2 PUD Unified General Business District with a planned unit development overlay, and and approving the associated planned unit development preliminary master plan, provided certain conditions are met, said parcels being located at the corner of Lafayette Drive and South Illinois Avenue, and a public hearing is required.
Move to approve.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Williams.
All right, so this is the rezoning and PUD preliminary master plan request. Val, I think it might be helpful for this one to actually pull up the PUD document, which is the Lafayette Crossing PUD preliminary master plan. Yes, just so we can all look at the plan that we're talking about. So again, this is at the corner of South Illinois and Lafayette, a rezoning for a commercial development, which has about 4 buildings, one on the corner. I think we have to zoom out a bit there. On the corner of South Illinois and Lafayette is proposed as a car wash. Then you have the building you can see on the screen now, which is a 3-tenant commercial building, and then 2 additional smaller commercial buildings on the property. I'll say that access has been a big question and part of the discussion for this development. And primarily you have shown here an access point onto Paris Lane, a right-in, right-out access point on Lafayette Drive, a right-in, right-out access point on South Illinois Avenue, and a full access point on South Illinois. I want to point out that since first reading, you have received a recommendation from the city's Traffic Safety Advisory Board, or TSAB. They only make recommendations on entrances onto the major roads, so that's Lafayette and South Illinois on this case. You can see on the first page of your memo, the Traffic Safety Advisory Board recommended approval of the full access point on South Illinois Avenue. That's on the far left there on the plan. They recommended approval of the right-in, right-out on Lafayette Drive, also recommending the developer work with the city's engineering staff on the final design. And then finally, they recommended a change to the right-in, right-out on South Illinois, that it be changed to a right-in only, so that you could only enter from that point and not exit. The city engineering staff is in favor of TSAB's recommendation, and I will point out that the ordinance that you approved on first reading includes those first 2 recommendations, but it does not include the third regarding the right-in, right-out on South Illinois. So if you all wish to include that, that would be an amendment to the ordinance on the floor, I believe.
Actually, if you wanted to approve it, you don't have to do an actual amendment on the floor. We included a substitute ordinance in your packet. So if you wanted to include TSAB's recommendation, you can just make a motion to put the substitute on the floor and amend it that way, so you didn't have to actually worry about doing text amendments.
And my last comment, because it's come up with the other items, the Planning Commission voted 7-1 to recommend conditional approval of this PUD, subject to 5 conditions, 2 of which are similar to TSAB's conditions in the ordinance there. We can speak on those more if you'd like. Those are my comments, and I'll try to answer any questions.
All right. Questions? Well, let's do this. Before we have questions from council, let's open the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right. So any member of the audience wishing to address council, come forward, state your name and address, please.
Henderson, 103 Paris Lane. I'm still not happy about this proposal. Seems like I've lost and I have no say in the matter, but a couple other things. I'm against it, and now I find out you're going to have an access coming out of that development onto Paris Lane. That's just like a disaster. I don't know why you can't have. That would eliminate, if you put the one coming out of Illinois, you're saying you can only turn in, you can't turn out? I just think this is terrible. But anyway, I have done some homework. I went down and filled out a records request, and I got one piece of information, but I haven't gotten the other one yet that I want, and it might be that I'll have to study on that myself. I did get a copy of the minutes from November of 1983, where this was first proposed as one lot number 60, that they were going to try to get in there. Well, I called the courthouse, the property assessor, to find out where Lot 60 was. And Lot 60 is, unless I'm reading it wrong, but it says it on there, it's Lot 60. Lot 60 is address on Paris Lane is 100. That's 2 houses away from Aubrey's. That's not even in any of this other discussions. And so I said, well, who owns it now? And I knew who that person was. And then who owned it before was a Department of it's probably a HUD house. And before that, the developer that's wanting to do this, his name has never been on that property. So I'm confused about why way back then, and something got approved and something else did not get approved. So I'm wondering what that Lot 60 was about. That's 42 years ago. So I'm concerned that something is strange about that. Let's see. I also read, I got the minutes from the 1983, and then I got this, I got another page from the planning office that showed the 6 things that they had concerns about. And at the last meeting, you asked, and Wayne said there was only 1. But there was actually 6, and I think they had resolved at the planning commission meeting, they had resolved the first one, but there were still 5 concerns. And Jennifer just did say that, but there's not, it's like, nobody cares about the exceptions that they have. Anyway, and then I was copied on some emails, and in one of those emails, it says, let me find it.
Ms. Henderson, I'm sorry, your 3 minutes has expired. No, ma'am? Not now. All right, Mr. Dodson?
Yes, thank you very much. With regards to the rezoning request, I wanted to just address the South Illinois area.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Public hearing's still on.
Excuse me.
Yes, somebody else.
We still got the public hearing. I apologize for
up.
that. Hold that. Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to address council during the public hearing? Mr. Chen?
101 Stonebridge Way. To clarify Ms. Henderson's question, Lot 60 is the lot that's on the very corner that has no access to Paris Lane. That lot had no way to access the property in 1983, so that's when my father and I was 13 years old at the time, but I was keeping up, requested to have the access on Illinois Avenue. We have gone to TSAB, and they have requested the right-in only off Lafayette or Illinois Avenue. We're fine with those suggestions. If you'd like to entertain the substitute motion, that's fine with us. We are also fine with all the recommendations that Planning Commission requested. We're very excited about this development. It's going to be a great development. We have many businesses lined up, not asking for any payment in lieu of tax, no TIF, no government assistance at all on this property. It's going to pay a lot of property tax, a lot of sales tax, and I think we've worked with everyone possible to make sure that the access to this property is as easy as possible. We will have many ways to get in and out of this property on the main arterial roads, and we'll try to discourage access back into the neighborhood as much as possible. Some people will want to go to the red light and exit out onto Paris Lane to go through the Aldi type development over to Woodland Terrace, but I think that's a positive. I'm really excited about this development and hope I can get your support.
Thank you. Mr. Chen, any other individuals wishing to address council during the public hearing? Seeing none, need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All right, now, Mr. Dodson, I apologize. I'm back to you.
That's okay. Ms. Williams, I just wanted to go through these with regards to, and I think this was one of the areas of concern for Planning Commission, primarily were some of those entrances and exits, primarily I think on South Illinois maybe. And now we're going to just have an access going into that rather than coming out of that development. Is that correct on South Illinois?
Correct, closest to the intersection, but there is still a full access shown further west,
Okay,
as far
okay.
west as possible.
And I'm assuming this is going to be okay with the developer, he's going to work fine with what you're going to be doing as your business there as well. So I want to address some of the concerns from the citizens who live there in that area. I think a lot of the folks who came and talked at one of our meetings, our planning commission meeting, as well as council, were concerned with, I guess I'm going to address it as the buffer. If you look on page 90, you see a diagram of the buffer, and you have so many trees, bushes, things like that. I think it's really important that we address that concern as well, because while it's really nice to have these new restaurants and facilities for the general public in Oak Ridge, we also have to think of the residents there. They're living there, they've been living there. So if we can be assured that that buffer area is going to be a substantial buffer area between the new development and the residents, I think that would be a big help. I put myself in that position. I would like to have something like that as well. So that's just a suggestion I would have with regards to, going forward. Okay? Thank you.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, some questions. We have the recommendation that the Traffic Safety Advisory Board made regarding the one entrance. What was the substance of the rest of their discussion? What did they have to say? Often we get a memo from TSAB describing their analysis and their recommendation, and I haven't seen that, so I'm wondering what they did, whether Mr. Mills may want to report on that, I'm not sure, but.
I think Mr. Flynn was in attendance at the meeting.
Okay. Good.
It's all.
Okay. TSAP looked at it as three individual, I'm sorry?
Name and address.
Roger Flynn, Westwood Drive, Oliver Springs, Tennessee.
Thank you.
TSAP looked at this as three different items. They looked at the main entrance on Illinois Avenue. The original Lot 60 had an entrance approved back in the 1980s at 200 feet from the intersection. The configuration of the lot now has moved that driveway north. It's now actually 410 feet away. When you take out the property lines and move it to the extreme north side of the property. The second entrance that they looked at was the right in or right out, and we discussed it at length for quite a while. I felt like there were sight distance problems with the exit looking back over your shoulder toward the intersection. So after we discussed it, laid it out on paper, we just decided to admit that exit. So now it is right in and no way out. And we did that again because of the sight distance issues, and I felt like this wasn't adequate. The other entrance, which is on Lafayette, and keep in mind you're looking at a master plan, you're not looking at the exact site plan. I think that's probably going to get moved around a little bit, but the concept of that entrance and exit we're reasonably satisfied with. Sight distance is marginal, but it's there. You can't turn left across 7 lanes of traffic, so we're not worried about the zigzagging movement. So after considering it, we felt like that was a reasonable thing to do to help move this along. So the recommendations are the one full access, which we couldn't landlock the property anyway, really, and TDOT was going to approve that access. Frankly, they had until they found out we had not. They had already looked at it. And then again, we made the change to take the exit out and to, we'll look at the site plan. At this time, we've not seen a definitive usage for all of the buildings, so we don't have trip generation. We may consider, when we actually get the site plan, we may or may not want a traffic study. Traffic studies generally are for discussion of trip distribution. At that point, we would know more about which direction who was going and coming from. Again, until we actually have a site plan with the specific businesses And trip generation, we don't know if we're going to ask for that or not. That may be part of the site plan approval process as opposed to the master plan process.
Okay. And questions about Paris Lane. As I think those of us who are familiar with Paris Lane are aware that it's a really tiny street. It's super narrow, and it's not in particularly good condition. And you know, this development would provide access from Paris Lane into and out of the development here. Also, the cul-de-sac at the end of Paris Lane apparently would remain, because it's not part of the property that the developer is interested in, at least not at the moment. What responsibilities would the city have regarding Paris Lane? Would we have to upgrade Paris Lane to make it work for this development?
We would not, and that goes back to what I was talking about, trip generation. Right now, we don't know what to expect on Paris Lane. If, and it would be up to Mr. Chen, of course, if there were to be improvements. I honestly don't think there would be. I can't predict that. I also can't predict if he would be receptive to doing them if they were recommended. I do know that the access on Paris Lane has been moved twice closer to, I guess, Purdue. It's been moved further away from the cul-de-sac, the original plan. I think the exit and entrance was actually further, what would that be, north? So I think it actually got moved this way to take traffic away from that cul-de-sac.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm not so concerned with the cul-de-sac as I am with just the ability of the road to handle traffic.
Yeah, I don't know if cul-de-sac's the right word, but it got moved away from that circle.
Okay, and so are there any other, there's no other accesses to Paris Lane from the rest of the development, just that one at the extreme left, whatever direction that is?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the others got deleted, and again, like I said, he moved it, and I don't know if that's its final position or not. Again, that would be a function of the actual site plan.
Okay, and TDOT, did TDOT have any specific concerns about access, you say?
TDOT does not. They are willing to take our recommendation. The main entrance was kind of a given because they had already decided they couldn't landlock the property. I had talked to them about it, I don't know, 2 years ago, 2-3 years ago, when they first started looking at this parcel. I think since then, he's bought one more lot, which actually moved it further away from the intersection, and frankly, that helps. It also gets it further away from the queue up for the left turn. You're back past where that traffic queues, which I think is a good thing. And there are several of the businesses out there that have access that, you know, in both directions. But
When you refer to queue up for the left turn.
the left turn onto Lafayette.
Okay,
Yeah.
from Illinois to Lafayette.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. But at any rate, yeah, TDOT had already looked at it. They were, originally several years ago, before he bought that other property, they were somewhat opposed to it. He's moved it another, ever what the width of that lot was, he's got it up to 400 feet, and they are satisfied with that.
Okay, and it's not too close now to Woodland Terrace? Okay.
It's, no,
Okay.
I'm satisfied with it at 400 feet. So I'm willing to proceed with the recommendation too.
Okay, thanks. Questions for Jennifer? I'm confused about where this buffer is going to be placed. There's pictures on here of rows of trees. Are those the places where, are all of those the places where there's a type, whatever it is, buffer?
So 2 of the conditions in the ordinance relate to buffers.
Yeah.
The first requires an additional evergreen buffer along Paris Lane behind that 3-tenant building that's not shown in the plan, but
Okay.
is recommended as a condition of approval. And the second is to ensure that the buffer shown along shared property lines with residences meets the minimum standards of the type D buffer, which is in your packet and is part of the zoning ordinance. So it is going to be more dense than what is shown in the plan right
Okay.
now if this ordinance is approved.
Okay, appreciate that, so. Okay, those are all the questions I have for now. Thanks.
One item I'll throw out, just for general information. Typically, with a access onto a state route or arterial, we will normally bring a separate memo to you for approval for that. You've seen that many, many times. This particular lot, I'm working off the assumption that if you approve this, you're approving that driveway. If it's your desire, I can come back with a separate item in the future, but it would be effectively bookkeeping. So that's your call whether or not I come back with a separate memo.
Thank you. All right, any other questions for staff? If not, based on the previous action of the Planning Commission, the staff comments, and Mr. Chen's comments, I move that we substitute the ordinance that is included in the packet.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? All right, so we are back. The motion is to approve the substitute ordinance as outlined or stated in the packet. Any additional questions for staff? Seeing none, the motion is to approve, and the motion, and we were on the board. Okay.
Okay, all right, we'll redo it right now. Go ahead.
Now we're back on the board. Ayes 4, 3 nays, and the two nays, I'm sorry. 2 nays. It is approved. All right, next item of business, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Title I, titled General Administration, Chapter 2, titled Miscellaneous, to delete Section 1-201, titled Administrative Organization of the City, and replace it with a new Section 1-201, titled Administrative Organization of the City, to change the name of the Community Development Department to the Planning and Development Department, to change the name of the Personnel Department to the Human Resources Department, to identify which departments are supervised by the Deputy City Manager, and to clarify the placement of city, court, and the legal department within the organization.
Move to approve.
Second. Moved and seconded. Mr. Heeman?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is a relatively easy one. It is a required thing that the manager must provide per the city charter, and it includes administrative organization of the city. You can see that we've changed some things around. We've got 2 renamings, and then we've got some departments that are reporting up through the deputy manager, and that's all reflected in this document.
All right, any questions for the manager? Seeing none, the motion is to approve, and we're on the board. Ayes 6, no nays, and the ordinance is approved. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Under resolutions, we have a resolution authorizing the transfer of tax equivalents from the electric fund to the general fund for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025, and to authorize distribution of the electric funds between the City of Oak Ridge and Anderson and Roane counties in accordance with state law.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Bates.
This is simply a resolution that we bring to council every year to authorize the expenditure of these funds from the electric department to Anderson and Roane counties respectively, as well as our city. The total number's based on total assets and inventory, less depreciation. You net it and use the percentages. So it's just a formula that we use.
All right, any questions from Ms. Bates? Seeing none, the motion's approved, and we're on the board. Ayes 6, no nays. It is approved. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
Hold on one second, I have to wait for that to count down before I can move. Okay. A resolution to amend the FY 2026 budget as permitted by state law to meet a condition for approval of the annual budget by the Tennessee Comptroller of the Treasury. Said amendment to increase the projected expenses for the Waterworks Fund to account for increases in the operating revenues and grant revenues for a new projected expenses amount of $25,908,404.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Bates?
Okay, this resolution is one that I wasn't hoping to bring you so soon. I know we talked about doing budget amendments more frequently, but not necessarily every month. Basically, we missed this revenue that we need to put into the ordinance to increase our revenues. And we also added the ARPA and SWIG funding and expenditures that are associated with that to the budget with this amendment.
All right, any questions for Ms. Bates? Seeing none, the motion is to approve. Aye, 6, no nays, and the resolution is approved. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
A resolution concurring with the state's calculation of the equalized property tax rate, 1.3784, for the city of Oak Ridge for both the Anderson County portion and the Roane County portion for tax year 2025 as determined by the Tennessee Comptroller of the Treasury.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Bates?
This is simply us receiving the numbers from the state. We have a certified tax rate of 1.3748, and this resolution is to approve that.
Any questions? Obviously, it has been adjusted for the recent reappraisal.
Correct.
5-year reappraisal, and I would note that tax rate is 1.37 as opposed to 2.48 or 2.51 originally before the, okay. All right, a motion is to approve, and we're on the board. Aye, 6, no nays. Resolution is approved. Madam Clerk?
A resolution authorizing payment to the Oak Ridge Schools for lighting improvements to Kevin Kalia Field in the amount of $245,500.
Move for approval.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Bates?
This last resolution has come through the schools. There was an agreement that we were going to pay for the upgraded lighting at the softball fields. This is simply us reimbursing the schools for their expenditures for these funds.
Any questions? Seeing none, the motion is to approve, and we're on the board. 6 ayes, no nays. Resolution is approved.
Thank you, Council.
Next item, Madam Clerk.
A resolution authorizing a professional services agreement with Barbara McMurray Architects, Knoxville, Tennessee, for architectural and engineering services for the replacement of Fire Station Number 2 in an amount not to exceed $335,000.
Moved and seconded. Chief Solomon.
Yes, Mayor, Council, the item before you tonight is the engineering and architectural services for the replacement of Fire Station 2. We're very excited about this. We've been working for years to get there, and we're wanting to keep the ball rolling. And I'm able to take any questions at this time.
Questions for Chief Solomon? I concur. It's been a long time coming. This is a good one. All right, we're on the board. Motion is to approve. 6 ayes, no nays. Resolution is approved. Next resolution, Madam Clerk.
A resolution authorizing a professional services agreement with Barbara McMurray Architects, Knoxville, Tennessee, for architectural and engineering services for a new animal shelter in an amount not to exceed $315,000.
Move to approve.
Second. Chief Smith.
In 2022, we began working with Barbara McMurray Architects to develop a building program and conceptual design for a new animal shelter. In 2024, we located a potential site to build the shelter on South Florida Avenue. With the authorization of City Council, we submitted an offer to purchase the property, and that purchase was made in February of this year. Barbara McMurray Associates, Architects submitted a proposal in May for architectural and engineering services. We're asking for authorization to enter into a professional services agreement with BMA for design services and construction administration.
And an amount not to exceed $315,000.
Yes, sir.
And I'll add, we had budgeted $350 for this, so it came in a little less than anticipated.
All right. All right, any questions for Chief Smith?
like the fire station number 2, this is a long time coming.
Long time coming, that's right. Okay, we're on the board. I-6, no nays. Glad to see this one moving ahead. Thank you, Chief. Thank Captain Tedford for his work on this, too. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
A resolution approving the Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan for Program Year 2025 and the proposed allocations of CDBG funds estimated at $211,245 and authorizing the approval of CDBG substantial amendments to the city's 3-year consolidated plan for 2023 through 2025 and the Annual Action Plan for Program Year 2024.
Second.
Move and second. Ms. Williams.
So as Ms. Hickman just stated, this resolution does 3 things. It authorizes acceptance of the city's annual allocation from the CDBG grant program. It approves the city's planning document for this fiscal year for our grant program. And then it authorizes some amendments to plans to support 2 projects we have upcoming, which I'm happy to speak on if you like. I'll say that this did go to the June Budget and Finance Committee as well.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Williams? Seeing none, the motion is to approve. Again, we're on the board. I-6, no nays, and it is approved. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
A resolution authorizing the transfer of the residential property located at 204 Waltham Place, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, to the Oak Ridge Land Bank Corporation for disposition as set forth in Resolution 11-108-2013.
Move to approve. Okay, moved and seconded. Ms. Williams.
Again, this is for the transfer of property at 204 Waltham Place to the Land Bank. The property was already purchased by the city. It was under that $50,000 threshold from Planning and Development's annual budget that we have. So this resolution would approve transfer to the Land Bank.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Williams on this item? Ms. Smith?
Yeah, just curiosity, is there a plan for this particular property?
So the Land Bank actually voted back in January of this year to demolish the existing duplex because its condition is very, very poor. So I believe that the property would be resold, and the Land Bank does have a meeting tomorrow morning where they will
Okay,
discuss this
but
very thing.
they don't have anybody particular lined up for it yet? though?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we're on the board. Motion is to approve. I-6, no nays. Resolution is approved. Next item, Madam Clerk.
A resolution authorizing a professional services agreement with Patterson and DeWart Engineers Incorporated of Gallatin, Tennessee, for consulting services and support related to the study, design, and implementation of the city's electric grid modernization, improvement, and expansion projects over the next 2 fiscal years through June 30th, 2027, in an amount not to exceed $1,675,000.
Move to approve. Moved and seconded. Mr. Cross.
Mr. Mayor, members of council. This back on. Mr. Mayor, members of council, this resolution is to approve engineering services for the next 2 years for Patterson and DeWart Engineers. And these are the folks we've been working with since 2016 as we improve our electric system. We had met previously with the Budget and Finance Committee on June 26th, and the proposal that we presented then totaled $1,950,000. And as we extended to the Budget Finance Committee, we talked to those folks, and we've pared the list down and got down to $1,675,000. So we've tightened things up a little bit, but this is for the next 2 years as we continue implementing improvements electric system, AMI, SCADA, substation upgrade, just all the work we're doing right now.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Cross?
Yeah,
Ms.
comment,
Smith, yes.
comment that this is a big contract, but it's just a small part of the total project.
That's correct.
So that's useful to be aware of. And one thing people are asking questions about now is whether remote metering is part of this. There's a task 4 in here related to that. And people are wondering whether the implementation of remote metering for water is going to be done at the same time as changing over the meters for electric, or if that's a separate project.
It is being done simultaneously. Of course, Public Works will be taking care of that side of it. Electric is taking care of our side.
Okay.
So these services are not included with that. Patterson Dwyer is
Right.
doing our work on our
Okay,
side.
okay.
So
That
I'm
was
sure
more a
Robert
matter of-
Murray's probably handling
More a matter
Public
of
Works.
answering citizen questions.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, we're on the board. Ayes 6, no nays. Resolution is approved. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
A resolution to amend Resolutions 2-19-2021 and 9-103-2022 to increase compensation to the professional services agreement with Jacobs Engineering Group for construction, administration, and resident observation during construction of the new water treatment plant and transmission main by $1,654,500 for a new not-to-exceed amount of $4,388,400, and to extend the professional services agreement term to run concurrently with construction and until all services under the scope are complete.
Move to approve.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Flynn.
This is an amendment to the current engineering contract from Jacobs. We've had 3, I think, contracts with them. The first was for the feasibility study, the second was for the design, and the third is for the current construction services during construction. They're providing us 2 inspectors full-time, plus their engineer, and plus administrative services. The water plant was originally expected to be finished last spring. February or March was the original completion date. We're now up to February or March of next year. Boeing is about a year behind. So we need to extend Jacobs' contract to continue their services until the plant is completed. This amendment also, excuse me, includes services after the plant is completed. This includes services during startup, and it includes services all the way through the warranty period. Right now, we're anticipating that will go into 2027.
All right, questions for Mr. Flynn. So this contract is not to exceed $4,833,400, and that'll take us through when?
We anticipate that this will take us past startup and all the way through the warranty period, which is a year after we take possession of the plant and consider it to be in operation.
All right, questions? Seeing none, motion is to approve. Six ayes, no nays. Resolution is approved.
A resolution approving a contract with Backflow Specialty Company Incorporated, Powell, Tennessee, for backflow preventer testing services in the amount of $77,875.
Mr. Flynn, couldn't this one's,
Pardon me?
well, this one, such a small number, you sure you couldn't have kind of just slid that one into the last one?
Hey, I tried.
Okay. Mr. Flynn, you're recognized.
This is just the renewal of the contract that we have for testing all the backflow devices in town. We require them on anything that's commercial or industrial. On the residential meters, we put a little valve in the setter ourselves, so we take care of that. But anything that's considered industrial or commercial actually has a reduced pressure backflow device. Unless it's a fire line, then it has a double detector check. But anyway, we test all these things annually to just basically to protect our water system.
Any questions for Mr. Flynn? Not, motion is to approve. Six ayes, no nays, and it is approved. Next resolution, Madam Clerk.
A resolution approving an agreement with Ray Evans for economic development services in the amount of $55,080 for fiscal year 2026.
Second. Mr. Teeman.
Mayor and council, this is an annual contract. It's the same amount as last year. We use Mr. Evans for a lot of work, and you've seen a lot of it. Recent design on Central Avenue He's actually working on a parking lot at Grove, concept for the sub-sale. He does retail recruitment for us and assists with a variety of projects. So we have kept him very busy and would recommend approval of this resolution.
Any questions for the manager? Seeing none, motion is to approve. Ayes 6, no nays. Resolution is approved. Next item of business, Madam Clerk.
A resolution approving a contract between the city and the Oak Ridge Convention and Visitors Bureau for the provision of services and materials to promote tourism in Oak Ridge for fiscal year 2026 in an amount not to exceed $592,275.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Heeman?
This is our annual contract with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, or Explore Oak Ridge. It is up from last year, but it was budgeted. Income is up. They do a fantastic job and are also, just for the record, going to be assisting with leadership for one of our strategic items, and that is the wayfinding signage. So we formed a team, and Katie will be heading that team. So they do fantastic work, and staff recommends approval of this contract.
Any questions? All right, we're on the board. Sure.
Oh.
Okay. Now we go. Ayes 6, no nays. Resolution is approved. All right, next item of business is appearance of citizens. Citizens shall be permitted to address city council about matters that were not on the formal agenda tonight. Any citizen wishing to do so shall raise your hand and proceed to the lectern, and after recognition, state your name and address and the purpose of your appearance before council. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes and shall relate to matters of city business. They shall not generally result in a formal response or action at the time of the presentation, because in most cases, neither the council nor staff will be prepared to respond effectively. However, I may answer the questions, direct the city manager to do so, or the city manager may be requested to work with the citizen to effect resolution of the matter. Statements that are purely political in nature will not be allowed, such as campaign speeches or announcements of candidacy for office, nor will announcements of a civic or social event that is unrelated to city business. When wishing to address council. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, there's no microphone, right?
It's okay.
Thank you.
You just need to-
Marion
just
Wildgruber.
need to step up and speak there. Yeah,
A little more?
There you go.
Thank you, Marion Wildgruber, 122 Connors Drive, and I know you're all ready to go home, so I think y'all ought to make a resolution that every citizen in the city of Oak Ridge needs to attend at least one city council meeting every year, because what you all deal with is just mind-blowing. My head is swimming after sitting back there for the last 2 hours. It's just amazing, and I'm grateful to you all. While Mr. Flynn is here, though, I would like to ask, I've been waiting for an update on the multimodal contract, please. It's been a month or so. I'd love to know what's going on there. But I did come with a positive comment. I wanted to express my extreme gratitude and excitement about a project that we're working on with the city and United Way, the upcoming All Abilities Fair that's going to be held on October 18th, a Saturday, a non-football game day. And we learned from 2 years ago not to have it during fall break, so it's after fall break. The city has been extremely generous in allowing the organization organizing this event to use the new conference center, the Civic Center, and we just had a really fantastic meeting today with Parks Director John Hetrick, and the Conference and Civics Directors, the new one, Drew Jurett, Julie Lee, and Linda McGee from the Senior Center. We'll be using the Senior Center as well, and we're planning on having activities for all ages to bring in community members to raise awareness, educate, but mainly provide resource information for people with disabilities. We have people coming from Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga. This is a regional event that is providing a role model across the state, really, for disability fairs. And we thank the city for the support, Mr. Heeman, but also Parks and Rec and City Council. And we're really looking forward to a terrific event. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Flynn, can you respond to the question? Thank you.
I actually worked on this last week. I have just gotten concurrence from TDOT relative to the award. We've got the contract signed. We have a tentative pre-construction meeting now scheduled between all the parties in mid-August. The contract is 550 days, and after the pre-construction, we'll choose a notice to proceed date, at which time the contractor can choose if he wants to mobilize or if he wants to purchase material and then mobilize. So the next thing that will happen is the pre-construction meeting, which is mid-August.
All right, thank you. All right, any other citizens wishing to address council? Seeing none, our next item of business, announcements and scheduling.
So we're scheduled to have a work session on July 22nd, which is a week from tomorrow night. And due to several of us being away that night, we had discussed with you all the possibility of moving the work session a week to July 29th. And I think that in discussions with you all, I think that's worked out for all of you. So the work session that was originally scheduled for July 22nd will be Tuesday, July 29th at 6 p.m. in this room.
All right, thank you. Requests for new business items or future briefings. Mr. Hensley?
Yeah, this is, I didn't want to bring this up in the midst of the discussion about the Industrial 2 versus Industrial 3 out there in Horizon Center, but something I have mentioned before, and I'd like to get a briefing sometime from staff about how can we change the name of East Fork Road to East Fork Greenway, because that's actually what it is. And TCWP and TWRA, which I'm involved with, have put a great deal of effort into that with identifying signs, and so it's, I think it needs to be called a greenway.
I'll get with staff and we'll look at the road renaming policy and get back to you.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else? Ms. Smith?
Yeah, on the subject of street renaming, I noted tonight that we're talking about putting the fire station on South Florida Avenue, which most of us know as Fairbanks Road, and there must be a history there. But I was hoping we could clarify that stays Fairbanks Road, because I think we'll have a hard time with South Florida.
It will be Fairbanks.
Yeah.
Oh.
But one other item I had is that I've heard from people with concerns about the color of our LED streetlights. And I know there's a lot of history there, but I think, it's, as we acquire new LED lights, it would be desirable to see about the possibility of getting a spectrum that's got a little less blue in it. But I know that that's an issue for people doing streetlights everywhere. But I just wanted to raise it as something that I hope is on your plate as something to think about.
You don't like the lavender?
Well, it's the blue is another issue, that apparently the blue is a problem for astronomers, that somehow it reflects up into the sky more than it's supposed to.
Mr. Cross?
Many of our street lights, the LEDs, were installed in 2017, 2018-ish timeframe. We have a good number, almost 50% that are LEDs, so we're kind of ahead of similar cities, many of them. Unfortunately, a lot of them do over time. They may last a long time, but they do tend to change colors a little bit. That happens to them over time. One manufacturer in particular gave particular problems, and I've instructed staff, let's stay away from that brand in the future. But the industry is experiencing the same phenomenon all over. It's common.
And there's also concern about the white light being slightly bluish, and that apparently creates some problems for reflection back to the sky that isn't supposed to happen, but happens with just the right choice of wavelength. But just wanted to make sure that it's on, I think it's on your agenda, but I just wanted to make sure.
It's on our radar. It's kind of a difficult issue. It's something that everyone's dealing with to some degree. Thank you.
Mr. Hensley?
Yeah, just one quick comment about, a couple of weeks ago, I got to witness the demolition of the Bull Run stacks. And the interesting thing for me is that we're talking about getting a fusion test facility over there. And most of the time, I blow that off as something that's not going to happen. But in this particular case, 2 young engineers were there that had already been hired to work on the project. And it's called a Stellarator. It's the other kind of tokamak, the tokamaks and Stellarators, and it's the Stellarator type of fusion reactor, and it's actually going to be at the site, and they're hiring people to work on it.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Teeman, you had a report.
Yes, sir. I'll be brief. We will be sending out property tax statements. You'll notice they are late this year because of the what we had to do with the changing of the rate, but they will be going out, and they'll be due on August 31st. We also created, Lauren did a landing page for the Scarborough community meeting that we had. There was some questions about traffic stops, cameras, different things. So we're going to put that information online so that everybody can see the answers to those questions. And that page is up right now, and I believe is it visible yet? Okay, and there's been some information on it. There will be more that follows. We have a comprehensive plan small area meeting that was mentioned earlier on Wednesday. Also want to congratulate, we approved that contract for the architect today, but the truth is, if these people could get drawings stamped, I think we would have approved them because this is our group from Robertson Middle School that actually won the national competition for the design, and they did a design of our animal shelter, and we were privileged to see that before they went off to the nationals. It's really exciting. Great.
Remarkable young ladies.
Very remarkable. I would agree with that.
Great job to represent our city.
They actually had ideas in here that, to be honest, I think will get incorporated into the final design.
Just one question. How much later are we going out with property tax statements than last year?
It's about 30 days later, isn't it? Somewhere in that range? Were we in July? Okay.
I just think we need to think about extending the time that they're due, given that. It's a little quick for some people.
I think in the past, we've always allowed 30 days. Is that correct? From the day the letter went out? So it's the same amount of time as previous years, I believe. But I'll check it.
Just let's be sure.
Okay.
Okay.
You'll notice that we have our World War II American Heritage City signs that are up now, and that's based on us being designated the headquarters site for the Manhattan Project, obviously, and also designated American World War II Heritage City for Tennessee. Bottom of this page, you'll see the Triso X site is about 79% of the site work is done, and they are on track to start vertical construction in September. We're going to have some brief power outages with replacement of meters and new digital meters coming in, and that'll be off the Lafayette Drive area, and we'll be posting that obviously to folks in that area. We're also checking for blockages in the sanitary sewer system. I think we need to rename that thing as Sewer Rat. Doesn't sound like a good name, but it is the sewer line rapid assessment tool that we use. So water service line inspections are also underway, and there'll be information on that, and we do get calls when that happens every year. But a lot of routine water system things going on. We do have our Atomic Fall Fest. We're accepting vendors for September's event, and planning for that's coming along real well. I want to thank our folks in Parks and Rec and Lauren and several others that are working on that project. Lavender Festival, we topped out at around 22,000. It was a little warm out there, but it was a great day and had a lot of good volunteers. You can see the upper right-hand side. We were advertising for the next festival there. We also had a great 4th of July, as always. Good celebration. Community band played. And on July 19th, we had the indoor yard sale that's scheduled then. So just real quickly to end, a few of our new employees. We've got about 3 pages of new employees this year. You met several of our new folks that are interns, but there's also some permanent folks on here. You can see Brittany Wakefield, library clerk, Travis Estep in planning, Brandon Miller, police department, Dylan Price, maintenance technician, Emanuela Christopher in PD, and you met our interns earlier. I won't read them. And then we've got a new investigator, Samuel Shell, new meter reader, Nolan Fisher, Carter Bowling, Parks and Rec Tech, Jeremy Swicegood, treatment plant, and Alexandria Jelinska, IT specialist, just started with us. And I would like to point out there's a familiar face on the bottom left. That's Greg Wright. We brought him on as contract and have switched him over to full-time as assistant finance director in the finance department. So those are our new hires, and we also had a couple others, lifeguards and recreation leaders. These are our promoted employees in a number of departments. You might note that Eric Lawson moved over to emergency communications as supervisor for police department. William Menzel, system administrator, also known as Chaz. Shannon Bruton, police department record supervisor, moved up, and James Graff is recreation assistant 1. And I believe that's the last slide.
You want to remind everyone who our contract is with for the fireworks show?
I'm going to have to ask the
Chief?
Chief. We've had the same company for a number of years, I remember.
think so.
Pyro show, sir.
And where are they located?
They're located in La Follette, Tennessee.
That's exactly right, and they're in La Follette. We certainly weren't the biggest show that they had across the country, I can guarantee you that, but I've had nothing but just compliments after compliments about this year's show. So please extend our thanks to them.
Most definitely.
Because they always do a great job.
Yeah, we appreciate Merle FM out of Clinton, too.
That's
They
correct.
help to simulcast the fireworks with music and all that. So, yes, sir. Thank you. I'll pass it along, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Rackard, I'll ask you, but you better not. Thank you. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you all.